Hi students, welcome to week 5. Um, it's moving along quickly. I want to do my usual studying points. I know you're all reading along and you're having discussions on these things, but I like to do these videos to give you my perspective, so you don't think I'm trying to hide anything or have any hidden agenda. This is about the academic revolution, and I find it interesting that one of the texts is called The Academic Revolution, and here's an older copy of the title. This is not the 2001 version. It's in one of the books if one of you choose to read it, but uh, the authors, Christopher Jenks and David Reisman, frankly are giants in the history of higher education, and their text covers the academic revolution in perspective, social stratification in mass higher education, the war between the generations, a great deal about the public-private colleges, professionalism, its rise, and what it has meant for institutions of higher education, the religious institutions, HBCUs, and others. This is a great book choice if some of you want to choose it. Okay. Among the readings, and there aren't that many this week. There's 3 or 4. I want to talk about one briefly, and that is the 1971 piece, Functional and Conflict Theories of Educational Stratification by Randall Collins, who's a sociologist. This is an older piece, but sort of like the 3 theories of isomorphism and loosely coupled systems, etc. These are the sort of the anchors of things that people from within and outside the discipline have been looking at the field of higher education as a field of study. And what I find interesting about his piece here is that they choose the conflict theory of understanding this field as a way to look at it more closely. And they do this because of the issues that are very clear, and Jenks and Reisman talk about this in their textbook, about the conflicts that we all know exist between education for employment versus education for higher learning and for growing of new knowledge, not to mention the direct applications of applied research. And they ask the very centralized question, Collins does on, I think it's page 10, 12 or so. The well-socialized employee is the most valued person. And this cuts right to the chase of what we as educators do and we as academic administrators do in understanding where our colleges are going and why we're developing the programs we're developing. The other 2 pieces, brief one on the May 1968 revolution in France, which some say was not a revolution. That's a piece from the New York Times. And another one on, earlier one from 1945, which I thought was really kind of interesting, the application of science to warfare. And you'll see the early, early is not even an appropriate term, the continuing interplay between technology, defense systems, and institutions of higher learning. The MEMEX, which is the early precursors of the data chip for storage of information. Okay, so those are little teasers. Those, again, there's not a lot of reading this week, but I want to talk about a piece that hopefully it's not too late to maybe give you a little bit of advice on. That's in the assignment folder for the papers in your navigation bar to the left. How to write a scholarly book review as a publication for a peer-reviewed journal. I'm hopeful, even though this is really close to when your paper is due, but for your book report, you might look at this excellent steps on how to begin to approach a scholarly book report on page 62. And even more helpful is one on 68, which offers a worksheet. This is not a book report that you've all been doing since, 10th grade in high school. This is a serious piece of work that draws upon the scholarship that the writer of the book that you choose developed and selected for the arguments or positions that he or she is proposing. So this is the kind of piece that I'm looking for. And also, I think there's two examples, again, in the assignment folder for the book report by Philip Alpack, who is, I've mentioned before, one of the people I admire most. He's at Boston College and a giant in the field of higher education. Okay? And finally, in discussion board this week, ask you to look at some of the articles, you know, pick one having to do with the topics of the academic revolution. And these are events with links and brief articles on the House Un-American Activities Committee, the Cold War, the, you know, academic industrial complex, the civil rights legislation of '64, the Paris Agreement of '68, of which there's a little piece in there, the Columbia University student protest, and these are seminal events, and this is a good way for you to interact with each other on one of these topics in the discussion board. Okay, 6 minutes, a little longer than usual, but you know, I know you're finishing up your book report to submit, so I hope you're doing an excellent job on that. And in summary, those are my brief highlights for week 5. Welcome, week 5.